Alright, tonight we're going to interview Mr. Frog. Let's welcome him. Welcome, Mr. Frog.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, most of us here do not know you very well. Please tell us your name and a little bit about your background, please.
Well, first, my name is Frog. Please call me Frog. And I was born into a normal, average Japanese family. A couple of years before like 2 or 3 years before the Americans dropped the nuke on us. Unfortunately, my genetics got mutated into frog DNA, and now I'm a frog that can speak English.
Alright, that's strange, but okay. Let's begin with category. Why did you pick him for your partner?
Well, I picked Katagiri because I've been observing him for a while, and I think he has the potential to save Tokyo. His life is too boring and bland. He needs excitement in his life, you know? And the potential, and I want him to know that he didn't live his life for nothing. Come on, he saved Tokyo, you know, after all.
True, yes.
So yeah, and he really has potential, even though no one really believes in him.
Yeah.
And that's why I picked Katagiri.
Okay. How did you know where to find him?
I had some help from some small friends of mine. Average frogs, actually. You there? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay.
What were your first thoughts of him when you first met him?
My first thoughts. Man, oh man. He was weak. He was just weak. Exhausted after work. Shocked face. It's actually a decent suit. Not strong at all. Not very impressive. Honestly, my first thoughts, I actually had some doubt, like, is this really the guy that is going to save Tokyo? But, you know, I had hope.
How did you become aware that war was going to create an earthquake at Hiroshima?
Well, all frogs are born with a sense for earthquakes, and seeing as how I'm a frog, I just knew that it was coming, because I knew Worm would be the only one to create an earthquake of that caliber to destroy Tokyo.
Do you think he was up to the challenge of facing Worm?
Honestly, at first, I don't think he was. I don't think anybody could believe a 6-foot frog talking to them. You know, what would you think, honestly? Because, like, do you really think you would be up for battling a giant worm when a 6-foot frog is there standing in front of you?
And as I know, they've been trained, right? The worms.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wouldn't think I can take that challenge. Alright. What occurred during the fight with Worm that caused you such injuries?
Well, years ago, I had a small history with Worm, and this time, the fight, he grew much stronger. A lot stronger than I expected. And I was eventually injured by him, evidently, you know, obviously, because, you know, while I've been doing my work, I suppose he's been training. I was on the edge of death, but, you know, I managed to get some damage on him too, so how much? I'm not really sure.
Well, It looked like it was pretty bad. I mean,
Indeed. But luckily I've recovered, so it's not bad.
congrats. How did you manage to travel to the hospital where Category was held at with such injuries?
I had to take a cab.
Alright.
And you know, the cab driver was freaked out by the sight of a 6-foot frog, obviously.
I would be too.
He was generous enough to take me to the hospital.
What's up, bro?
You need to help me. You need to get me to the hospital,
Where's
man.
that? Come on the car right now. Let's go. Can you explain what happened to you in the hospital?
How do I explain that? Well, I'll put it in simple terms. The bacteria within the hospital infected my wounds, and seeing as how a frog cannot handle certain bacteria within a hospital, I started to, you know, my body couldn't handle the damage already physical and you know, bacteria infecting my wounds. You know, I started to bleed to death internally, and my body reacted, and I blew up with pus and blood.
I would expect you're dead. How are you still here?
Well, that's a little secret I have to keep to myself, unfortunately. But you know,
It's weird, you know, interviewing a dead frog, but since you're here, it's my pleasure.
Yes,
tonight.
thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you for being here. Bye bye.